Hi everyone, it's Terry from Waving My Wand, and I'm here today with a very special project. I have my first ever hand designed stamps coming out today. And I'm super excited that I've had So Suzy Stamps take some of my designs and turn them into holiday crafting projects. And so what we have today are some of my stamps that are made with my own handwriting. And this simple wreath that I designed, and a couple other words here, a little bit of lettering with the word Noel, and another one called peace with my handwriting. But today I want to show you this wreath and how you can make a beautiful Christmas card with this as your focal point, and an easy and quick way to just have a really beautiful, elegant Christmas card. So what I'm going to be doing today is a little heat embossing and some watercoloring, and it doesn't take very long. You could even knock out several multiples in a quick amount of time. But to begin, we're going to go ahead and ink up our wreath with some Versamark clear watercolor ink, and see what we got going here. I recommend that you do this at least 2 or 3 times on your surface, and today I'm using Strathmore mixed media paper. It's the vellum surface. It's a little bit thinner than their regular mixed media paper, and I really like it for die cutting. And so I'm going to go ahead and do this at least twice. Now, if you really want to avoid having a bunch of stray powder from your embossing, you need what's called an embossing buddy, or a dryer sheet will work as well. And just swipe the surface of your paper before you start inking. I think we have enough here. I'm going to go ahead now and add my word. So we can just do this all at one time, our heat embossing. Alright, I think that might be centered just about right. No big deal. If it's not, we can make another. It's a great thing about rubber stamps. You can just use them over and over and over. Now the reason we're using this stamp positioner, I'm using the Misty, is because you can continually ink the same image without moving your stamp. You know how acrylic blocks, sometimes if you don't get it right the first time, well then you've just messed up your project. This allows you to just use the lid to adhere the back of your rubber stamp or your cling foam stamp. You can even use clear photopolymer stamps. There's a special pad that fits inside the Misty just for the clear, thinner stamps. So let's go ahead and sprinkle on our embossing powder. Today I'm using the Nouveau hot chocolate. It's my absolute favorite. I use it all the time. And if you don't know anything about heat embossing and this is your first time, you always need to use the Watermark ink. Versamark is the most popular. And you need to use an embossing powder. And now we're going to tap off our excess. Let's get this out of the way. Just go ahead and bump that off, tap it off. Alright, now this is our powder on here that's going to be heat up with a craft tool. Before I do that, let me toss this excess powder back in the jar, or we're going to have a big old mess on our hands. I could just go ahead and pause this video, but I'm going to wait until we get to the heating portion. It takes about less than a minute to heat this up with your heat tool. And let me get that real quick. Hang on a sec. Alright, I've got my heat tool here. You just want to make sure you don't get too close because you don't want to burn your paper. But as you go around, you will see the ink and the powder start to melt. And once you see that melting process begin, then you want to slow down a little bit. Be sure you get all of it. And be sure, let's get the wording in the middle as well. Alright. I think we got it all. I don't normally run the heat gun that long, but I just wanted you to see about how quickly you can accomplish this. So we've got our heat embossing finished, and now we're going to do a little watercoloring. And this is super easy. I'm using Marvy La Plume 2 markers today, and it's as simple as taking your marker, swiping it on your craft mat. By the way, I'll have product links on in the description of my YouTube video and also on my blog post. So if you want to see more close-up photos of this finished project in its entirety on a gorgeous card, then please visit my my blog at wavingmywand.blogspot.com. And let's grab that water brush. You want a water brush that's got a fine detailed nib. I'm using an Adornit water brush today. They sell a 3-pack on Amazon, and I'll have that link also if you'd like to shop for those. But just grab your water, your color with your water brush, and make sure that it's not, well, overly saturated. And then just start coloring right here where you've already heat embossed. It's pretty foolproof. You can go as wide or as thin as you'd like with this color. I'm going out a little bit. When I made this design, actually is inspired by Christmas cards that I made last year for my family. And I shared it on some of my social media. And some folks said, hey, if that was made into a stamp, I'd buy it. So some folks took notice and made it into a stamp. And So Suzy Stamps. So I was very thankful for that. And Suzanne Moore and Vicki Briggs had a hand in that. So we're going around and coloring the wreath first. And if you want to vary up your color and go a little darker, you can. Let this dry a little bit first and then put on another layer. But for the sake of time and speed and not boring you too much, I'm just going to do the one layer today. For my little berries on my card that you'll see at the end of this, I didn't go the typical red berry route. Instead, I did more of a brownish, kind of a beige, and almost like an acorn color. So I've swiped it, and I'm just going to color in a little bit. And don't fill in the little circles all the way. Leave a little bit of white there. Why not? Gives it a little bit of interest. My good friend Lindsay Ostrom, the creator of cuteness, Google her or find her on Facebook or Instagram. She says leave a little white. And so, you know, I do sometimes. She's a pretty smart lady. Alright. That's pretty, don't you think? Can you see that? My lighting isn't the best. I have a very tiny craft space. I just have to make do. Me and my husband duke it out for space in this spare bedroom. Alright, there we go. On my card at the end of this project, I went a little lighter with the brown, but you can go as light or as dark as you'd wish. Or you can do your traditional red berries. Now what you're going to want to do now is make sure this is completely dry before we proceed to the next step. So I'm going to zap it again with my heat dryer, and I'll pause it for just a minute and be right back. Alright, I'm back. Just dried that for a few seconds. And I think every wreath ought to have a little bit of snow, don't you? So I've got my Deco Art Americana multi-surface satin paint. I've used this bottle a lot, and as you can see, it's a little messy. We crafters get messy, and just put a little drop of that on your, shake it good and drop some on your craft mat, and use a really small paintbrush that's been slightly wet. Let's spritz a little water here and get it wet. Alright, so now we're going to dip it in the paint, and you can grab this paint in various craft stores and even some big box stores. I think even maybe Walmart sells this in their scrapbook section. So just start dropping some white paint on here for snow, and if you look closely at this design, there's some little black dots on here. Those are actually there to serve as markers if you wanted to add little colored droplets of snow or something else. So I'm placing the snow where the little markers are, the little embossed markers. And you can put as little or as much of the snow on here as you want. Sometimes less is more, but hey, if you're that enthusiastic about the holidays, then go for it. But isn't that pretty? Just place it anywhere you want. I mean, if you want to add more, you can. Basically, this wreath design is a very simple design. There's a lot of wreath stamps out there for card making, and some of them are just, you know, elaborate and beautiful. But sometimes crafters can get overwhelmed with a lot of detail, and sometimes less is more. And so this was specifically designed for simplicity so that you can, you know, do what you want with it and not have to struggle with figuring out what to color what, you know, with too many intricacies. Did I get that right? Alright, we're almost done. Alright. Then you're going to want to heat set that again. And if you decide you want to add a few more, you can. Let's add a few more. And we're about done. I think that's good. Alright, that'll work. This is the Joy stamp and the wreath stamp available at So Suzy Stamps. I would appreciate if you use my affiliate links. That gives me credit for your purchase, and I will receive a small commission, which allows me to do some fun giveaways on my blog and on my social media. So I hope you enjoyed this quick little easy project for making holiday cards, and you can see the complete project at the end of this video. Product links are in my video description, and you can see close-up photos and more on this project on my blog at wavingmywand.blogspot.com. Thanks so much for stopping by today. Bye.